The courtroom was full, but no one dared speak. Every camera was fixed on the bench, every phone recording, every breath held. This wasn't just any sentencing, it was the final verdict in a case that had unraveled into a media firestorm, a legal mess, and a behind-the-scenes expose that left the nation questioning everything they thought they knew about reality television. Bambi sat at the defendant's table, not slouched, not broken, but poised, calm, and ready, not because she expected mercy, but because she already knew the truth was finally louder than the lies. Across from her, Tasha K sat with her arms crossed, chin slightly raised, jaw clenched. The woman who once narrated drama with a wineglass in hand now had nothing but a blank expression and a nervous tick in her left eye. Scrappy, seated just 2 rows behind, wasn't looking at either of them. His hands were folded tightly in his lap, eyes fixed on the marble floor beneath his feet. The judge walked in, slower than usual, heavy folder in hand, no teleprompters, no smiles. This court has reviewed the additional evidence submitted after recess, he began, his voice echoing. That includes metadata from both parties, footage from the original vault, intern testimony, post-production logs, and a previously suppressed confession obtained from the defense. The room didn't breathe. Not the audience, not the press, not the jury. After careful consideration, and in light of the deliberate manipulation of submitted evidence and sworn testimony, this court has decided to issue a modified ruling. Bambi didn't flinch. Her attorney placed a firm hand on hers, but she didn't even blink. The judge looked directly at her. "Ms. Benson," he said, using her government name like it carried fresh weight, "this court finds that the footage submitted during your trial was maliciously edited to paint a false and exaggerated narrative. That narrative influenced the court's view of your mental state, your motives, and your remorse." He paused. "Your original sentence is hereby vacated. Your record will be cleared. And on behalf of this court, an apology is issued." "Failing you," gasps tears, audible sobs. Reporters scrambled to adjust their cameras. Bambi looked down, not because she was overwhelmed, but because she was steadying herself. She whispered something to her lawyer, who nodded. And then she looked up, not at the judge, not at the jury, but straight across the room to Tasha K. The judge wasn't done. "Mr. Scrappy," he said, tone shifting, "this court has uncovered an email, dated 3 weeks before this trial began, in which you received a copy of the initial footage and were warned by your legal counsel to submit it. You did not. That email, combined with other delays and refusals, constitutes willful obstruction of evidence." A deep breath. "You are fined $25,000, effective immediately. Payment arrangements will be handled outside of these proceedings." Scrappy, jaw dropped. He started to speak, but then stopped. What was there to say? It wasn't a felony. It wasn't jail. But it was the price of silence. And now he was paying it in full. But the courtroom wasn't ready for what came next. Tasha Kayla. The judge said Tasha K's full name, ringing louder than any headline ever had. "You were granted conditional immunity in exchange for a full and honest account of your involvement. But since that agreement, new evidence has proven your testimony was incomplete, your involvement far deeper, and your intentions far more damaging than you initially claimed." He held up a second folder. "This court has reviewed voice notes, text exchanges, and audio clips of you instructing production staff to fabricate timelines, remove exonerating footage, and revoice scenes to fit a predetermined narrative." The courtroom began to buzz, but the judge raised his hand. "You orchestrated a storyline, not a documentary. You interfered in a legal case under the guise of entertainment. And you did so knowingly." He closed the file. "This court hereby sentences you to 3 years in state custody, effective immediately." The gasp that followed shook the room. Tasha K's chair scraped backward as she stood. "You can't do this," she snapped. "I was following orders. This isn't just on me." But the judge was already signaling to the bailiff. 2 officers approached, slowly, and read her rights. Bambi didn't move. She just watched. The same woman who had edited her pain into sound bites was now getting cuffed with microphones pointed straight at her. Tasha K was still shouting, as she was let out. "This is bigger than me. You think I'm the only one. This ain't over." But her voice faded the second the courtroom doors closed behind her. Outside, the crowd roared, protesters, fans, media all screaming different truths. "Free Bambi," one side chanted. "Shut down Hulu," yelled another. Camera crews were everywhere, but Bambi didn't look at any of them. She walked down the courthouse steps slowly, flanked by her attorney and a silent line of security. The air around her had changed. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't triumph. It was clarity. The truth had come out. She didn't need to say anything. The world was saying it for her now. Back inside, Scrappy remained seated. His fine had been read, his silence punished, but his spirit hadn't caught up yet. A woman in a sharp black blazer approached. "A clerk. We'll need your payment arrangements by Friday," she said, placing a form on the bench beside him. He took it, didn't look up, didn't speak, just stared at the numbers like they meant something more than dollars. An hour later, a press conference was called, but Bambi didn't attend. She didn't give a quote, didn't post a caption. Instead, she went home, picked up her daughter from school, held her close, and whispered, "It's over." But at WASN single quotes T. Because just as the credits started to roll on every news network covering the trial, a new clip leaked. Anonymous account. Blurred watermark. A shaky recording of Tasha K. at a rap party before the trial ever began. Into the camera. It's all content. All of it. I don't care if she slaps him or fake cries. If it don't trend, it don't matter. And just like that, the fire reignited. Again, the network scrambled. Hulu disabled comments on every official video. Sponsors began pulling out. The production company released a weak statement. Bambi didn't reply. She didn't have to. She had already won. The sun hadn't even fully risen when the next wave hit. Across social media, hashtags were flipping faster than anyone could keep up. Hashtag #FreeBambi had already evolved into hashtag Bambi deserved better, and hashtag Tasha clock ed up wasn't just trending, it was climbing past global topics. The internet wasn't just reacting, it was investigating, reposting, resharing, reclaiming. The same viewers who once dragged Bambi for faking a baby were now cutting together side-by-side comparison edits showing how different her raw footage was from what aired. One viral tweet read, "This wasn't editing. This was character assassination," and that was before the leaks, at exactly 10:37 a.m. A clip surfaced on Reddit just 17 seconds long, grainy, recorded on someone's phone. Tasha K was seen in a production meeting, seated beside a producer with a printed storyboard in front of her. She pointed to Bambi's name and said clearly, "We make her crack. That's the arc. Nobody cares if she's right, they care if she cries ugly." The video was old, but the damage was fresh. The press had already been circling, but now they had blood in the water. News outlets ran the footage on loop. TMZ called it a reality TV terror plot. CNN labeled it an ethics crisis in modern media. Even Bambi's old critics were backpedaling, but Bambi herself remained quiet, not because she was hiding, but because she didn't need to speak. Her silence was louder than every tweet, every headline, every take. Instead of a press tour, she took her daughter to the park. Instead of a statement, she let her legal team issue a single sentence to reporters gathered outside her condo gate. Ms. Benson is focused on healing, not headlines. The world already saw the truth. Meanwhile, Scrappy was spiraling. The $25,000 fine had triggered a wave of deeper scrutiny. A new rumor began to circulate, fans digging through old episodes uncovered inconsistencies in his timeline, suggesting he may have known about the pregnancy plot from the beginning. Someone posted a screen grab of a blurred-out phone screen in a 2022 reunion special, a text preview from Mena, and suddenly, everyone was asking if Erica Mena was next. But Scrappy wasn't online. He was in a studio in Atlanta, recording a voice note he'd never release. It wasn't music. It wasn't a statement, it was just him, talking into the mic. "I let him use me. I knew better. I just didn't want the smoke. But it found me anyway." He pressed stop, deleted it, then sat in the silence, knowing the internet wasn't going to delete anything. Not this time. Elsewhere, Tasha K had officially been processed into custody. Her mugshot was everywhere. Outlets zoomed in on her smudged eyeliner, the faint redness around her wrists where the cuffs had been too tight. Behind bars, the access she once had to production teams, legal reps, publicists, it vanished. Her phone calls were monitored. Her name was flagged in media request databases, and in the middle of her second night, after a guard delivered her meal and shut the slot in the door, she found something waiting on her bunk. A copy of her own press release, the one where she once claimed Bambi weaponized tears for fame. Someone had printed it, highlighted it, and left it with one word scrawled in pen: irony. While the public dragged Tasha and debated Scrappy, the system scrambled. Hulu pulled all footage of the courtroom docuseries from its front page. The production company behind the scenes, previously hiding in the shadows, suddenly found themselves under formal investigation. A cease and desist was issued against multiple bloggers for reposting confidential footage, but it was too late. Everything had already been copied, screen recorded, backed up on Google Drives, passed around like trophies. What once was locked in post-production vaults was now open season. Bambi's team received a call from a Netflix executive. They weren't interested in a follow-up drama. They wanted a full-blown exposed docuseries, the real behind the reality, but Bambi declined. Quietly, she'd had enough of cameras. Enough of confessionals. Enough of looking into a lens and hoping someone didn't splice her truth into villainy. Her focus now. A lawsuit filed quietly in federal court. Bambi vs. Streamline Media, the shell company behind the docuseries, alleged emotional manipulation, intentional infliction of distress, and willful defamation. The asking amount: $9 million. The evidence: ironclad, leaked production notes, time-coded edits, and a digital trail left behind by careless interns and arrogant producers. Inside the court of public opinion, the backlash was unrelenting. An online petition hit 2 million signatures in 48 hours. Demanding VH1 issue a public apology and re-edit all past episodes involving Bambi with uncut footage and timestamps. Reddit threads popped up titled The Bambi Files, cataloging inconsistencies across the seasons. One post had over 32,000 upvotes and simply read, "Y'all clowned her for crying, but she was crying through a script they forced her to follow." Meanwhile, inside jail, Tasha K tried to make contact with media outlets, but her calls were blocked. Her lawyer attempted to negotiate a statement deal, offering insight into other, allegedly manipulated storylines involving Yandy, Carly Red, and even Spice. But no one bit. The press had moved on from her words. They wanted footage, proof, and she no longer controlled the narrative. Back at home, Bambi recorded a video. Her and her iPhone, no lights, no glam, no edits. She uploaded it to her private account, no tags, no caption, just her face. "I said I wouldn't speak, but I just want to say this. I survived something y'all thought was entertainment. I cried for real. I broke for real. And while they were rolling cameras, I was trying to hold my life together." She looked down, took a breath. They paid people to fake pain. I was punished for feeling it. The video was shared 7 million times in 48 hours, but just as Bambi began to find peace, a manila envelope arrived at her door. No name, no return address, just a flash drive. On it, a single video file labeled Deleted Scene, Final Cut Room. She pressed play. It was a producer coaching Scrappy on what to say in a confession. The producer's voice was clear. "If you hint that she's unstable, it makes your arc stronger. Just nod when I ask about the pregnancy scare. We'll cut around your hesitation." Scrappy nodded. Bambi paused the video, rewound it, played it again. Her jaw clenched, but she didn't cry. Not this time. She didn't sleep that night. The video replayed in her mind, even after she shut off the phone. Not because it shocked her, but because it confirmed what she'd been trying to ignore. Scrappy knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. Enough to protect himself. Enough to let her drown in the chaos while he floated above the storm, acting clueless, holding his breath just long enough to avoid getting wet. And now, after everything, after courtrooms, flash drives, jail time, and national headlines, she was still discovering more layers to the lie. But this time, Bambi wasn't breaking. She was plotting. By morning, her legal team had already added the leaked footage to the lawsuit. The defamation claim ballooned to include 3 producers, the editing supervisor, and Scrappy himself as a named co-conspirator. The $9 million demand was now $12, and the media. They ate it up. Headlines exploded. Bambi adds Scrappy to lawsuit. New video confirms he helped shape false narrative. VH1 called to Senate hearing over reality TV ethics. Tasha K facing new charges after prison confession leaks. Because Tasha K had spoken again. From prison, illegally. A voice note leaked to a gossip blog, allegedly recorded during a jail phone call. The voice was unmistakably hers. She sounded tired, slower, but still sharp. In it, she said, "You think I did all that by myself? Please." The network told me to target her. They said Bambi tested well as a villain. Said nobody believed her anyway. I just turned that into views. That's what they paid me for. It was supposed to be private. It wasn't. the blog posted, it watermarked and amplified. Within hours, the DA filed a motion to revoke Tasha's phone privileges and refile for intentional media interference, another felony. And the judge, he called one final emergency hearing. The courtroom this time wasn't packed with fans or press. It was lawyers, suits, representatives from the production company, VH1 execs, even attorneys from Hulu and Netflix sitting silently in the back row. A government ethics official was present. The moment had gone beyond scandal, it had become a warning shot for the entire industry. The judge sat at the bench. Expression unreadable. This court has been made aware of new footage, new testimony, and an evolving pattern of behavior that directly calls into question the legal safety of reality television production as it currently exists. He turned to the producers. Let me be clear, this isn't about entertainment. It's about manipulation masquerading as truth. And you no longer have the privilege of doing it in silence. He ordered the following: a federal investigation into Streamline Media, VH1, and all contracted producers involved in the docuseries, a subpoena for raw footage archives from the last 5 seasons of all love and hip-hop franchises, an industry-wide ethics review of reality show contracts. Then he addressed Bambi, personally. Ms. Benson, this court acknowledges that you were not only failed but used. Your public image, your private pain, and your motherhood were commodified under the banner of storytelling. That ends. Now. He nodded to her lawyer. Proceed with your civil case. With my full support, and to Scrappy. The judge didn't mince words. You may not have edited the footage, but you participated in the silence. For that, there is no legal penalty, but I suggest you begin your apology tour quickly. Scrappy didn't respond. He didn't argue. He just stood up and left, alone. Again, outside, the courthouse lawn had changed. There were no protesters, no chants, just cameras. And one by one, the cast of characters began to disappear from the frame. Tasha K's legal team dropped her appeal. Hulu issued a statement admitting editorial missteps. And VH1 quietly scrubbed every mention of Bambi from their official pages. But Bambi. She didn't fade, she rose. She took her daughter on a trip, turned off her phone, canceled interviews. When the networks called about exclusive rights to her comeback, she declined. One outlet offered her a 7-figure book deal. She said no. Because this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about control. Then, in a surprise move, she partnered with Lindsay Morgan, the former intern turned whistleblower, and launched a non-profit, Unscripted Voices, focused on helping reality TV cast members protect their mental health, navigate exploitative contracts, and reclaim their narratives. Within a week, they had over 100 signups from former reality stars, big names, some forgotten faces, all broken in the same way. The internet wasn't done talking. Hashtags like #IST and with Bambi, #unscripted and free, and #ban fake reality trended for weeks. Think pieces dropped. Celebrities commented. And slowly, the conversation shifted. Not from drama, but to justice. Meanwhile, in a low-security facility 2 states away, Tasha K received one final letter. No return name. Just one sentence on the page. You edited my downfall. But this time, you don't get the final cut. And in a separate timeline, quiet, unbothered Scrappy returned to music. He dropped a mixtape titled Cut from the Storyline, but the reviews were brutal. One fan wrote, "We wanted growth, not guilt bars," and so the curtain closed. No reunion special. No final confessional. No fake makeup tears in front of a green screen. Just Bambi, walking through an airport, hoodie pulled up, daughter's hand in hers. A woman once broken by lies, now whole in truth. As the automatic doors opened and they stepped into the light, her daughter asked, "Are we ever going back?" Bambi smiled faintly. To the cameras, a pause. Then a soft, firm, final answer. "Not, unless I'm the one holding it." And just like that, she was gone. Out of frame, but never out of focus.